Wait, what? I can do that? This is Eric Bell with Wait, What? Financial matters that matter per business and the people that own them. If you missed last week's show on export tax credits with David Greenberg, that's one you definitely want to take a listen to. I'm fortunate today to have Jermaine Brown with me, CIC, which is a certified insurance counselor, and he works for Insurica. Jermaine, thanks for being here with us today.
Thank you, Eric, for having me. I appreciate you inviting me over to do the podcast.
Can you tell me more about Insurica, where they place in terms of size and what you guys do?
So Insurica, we are one of the largest brokers in the country. We're the 37th largest broker as far as size-wise. We do over $1 billion in revenue, and we also are located in 8 states, licensed in all states. And we've got focus markets where we work with specific industries such as construction, manufacturing, which is what I focus on. So 500 plus employees, and it's one of the largest brokers out there.
You know, I was looking at your website. You focus on construction and manufacturing, but also wholesalers, property owners, restaurants, machine shops, and just general commercial.
Yes. I've been fortunate to work with a gang of different types of businesses. My main focus has been with manufacturers, contractors, and distributors. But I've worked on restaurants. I've worked on machine shops. I've worked with auto body shops. So pretty much most businesses, the needs that they have are the same. You know, it just may be a little difference as far as specialties.
You know, also, when I think of property and casualty, I'm thinking about State Farm and my auto insurance. Can you kind of tell me more about what commercial property and casualty is?
So you're pretty much thinking State Farm is one of the largest personal lines. They do personal homes. They do personal cars. So commercial insurance is a little different. The needs are different because they're running a business. So typically with a business, there's a income. So you've got to protect your business income. You've got employees, so you got to protect your workers' comp, protects the employees. And then typically with the personal lines too, you've got to protect the property. So you're protecting the building, the equipment, and then you're insuring your autos and liability just the same as you would as a personal lines agent would.
So employee benefits as well as commercial property and casualty type of benefits is what you guys work on?
Yes, sir. So employee benefits would be health insurance.
You know, when I look at California, there's been a lot of fires. There's been a lot of different things going on throughout the state. You know, what are some of the new risks that you see that are affecting companies?
Right now, as you probably have seen, there's been a lot of talk. You've probably heard about companies being breached for allowing people to break in and take their privacy information. Like Capital One was affected recently.
Yep.
So that's cyber liability. I mean, today's technology is what's driving most businesses. So cyber liability is one of the bigger emerging exposures that's out there. So companies have to protect. If they're taking in social security numbers, credit cards, they have to protect that information. If someone breaks that information or compromises it, that company is on the hook for that. That's a big one that's been out there that's affecting. You think of hotels and restaurants that take that, but manufacturers as well.
So Insurica protects against those type of liabilities then?
Yes, so we've got a policy right now that's covers for cyber liability.
You know, one of the things I noticed too is there's a lot of insurance fraud going on. How does a client or one of your clients protect themselves against insurance fraud?
Right now with California, we've got 29 million people here. So fraud is rampant. So some of the steps that companies can take to protect themselves is first, you want to have some sort of, if you can, cameras. I mean, they're inexpensive and you can kind of keep an eye on your, operations. So that one area. 2, you want to basically have open communication with your employees. You want to talk to them, explain to them that if there's a claim, it needs to be reported right away and let them know that all claims are going to be investigated fully, that you're going to talk to all parties involved. And then 3, you want to get your insurance company involved and explain to them what happened. And if you've got any type of inclination that it could be fraud, you want to bring that to their attention so that they can get most insurance companies have a specialized investigation unit that they will look to investigate claims or potential claims.
So that's workers' comp claims? Is that what most of the fraud
primarily, yeah, because workers' comp is the one policy where there's coverage regardless of liability. So auto claims, there's only coverages if you're legally liable. Mm-hmm. Product claims only coverages if you're legally liable. Workers' comp covers you if the employee, only requirement is if the employee was working for you. So typically most of the fraud claims, not all of them, Most of them come from workers' comp. So another practice too, you want to have good hiring practice. You want to make sure, you are talking to prior employers about that employee. Just ask basic questions. So pre-hiring is a very important part of it to prevent fraud.
I know I've given you a couple clients and you did an audit on their current coverage. Tell me how that works, or what were you looking at, or what do you review?
With an audit, what we're trying to do is we're just being a second eyes and ears for them. Typically, what we want to do is we want to just, first, before I even do an audit, I want to meet with the client before I even look at the policies. Learn about them. Do a walk through their business. Let them tell me what they do, things that they need coverage for. So once I got a good understanding of their job, what they do, I've been through their facility, I'll review their policies to make sure what they do is covered under their insurance policy. Mm-hmm. A lot of times I've run across companies, they tell me, I work specifically with, I got one now where he's a contractor. He basically just works on townhomes and condos associations. Reviewed his policy, that's the first exclusion there. There's no coverage. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to match his coverage with what he does. So that's what we do in audit. So tell people the best thing about the audits is you're going to either, one, you get peace of mind, tell you that everything that you do is covered, or two, maybe we find something that's not covered and we need to correct it. So it's better to do that before something happens than after you have a claim and you realize you don't have coverage for something that you should have had coverage for, or you thought you had coverage for.
I was going to ask you, a lot of insurance companies are taking preventive measures to try to help companies out. What safety and compliance resources do you guys offer? Do you offer any at all?
So we're big. That's one of the areas that we kind of separate ourselves from some of the other agencies. And basically, we look at it as we're a risk manager, risk advisor. We're an extension of the company. So what we do, you can't prevent all claims from happening, but 90% of the claims that do happen can be prevented. So steps that we do is initially we do a walkthrough, loss control walkthrough. So we're looking for hazards. If you're a manufacturer, you got a machine that if an employee was to stick his hands into it, his fingers will get cut. Maybe that machine should be guarded. So we're looking for areas to help prevent claims initially. And then the second part of it is safety and training. We're basically providing ongoing training and safety. So, different topics, lifting. If you're a contractor, if you're going up a certain height, maybe some height prevention type training, making sure people are wearing their safety equipment. So that's the ongoing training that we offer.
That helps reduce claims.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then lastly, if they do have claims, we're going to evaluate the claim, see what happened. And then maybe there's something we can learn from that claim, and then we can put something in. Because the worst thing about it is insurance companies, they know that there's going to be claims that's going to happen. But if you're continuously having the same sort of claims, that's when it's a problem, because there's frequency and you're not taking corrective actions. So if you do have a claim, we want to make sure we don't have the same thing happen again.
I want to go back to the audit and review. Tell me more about the process and what exactly you need to do a review or an audit for someone.
Sure. So the best way to do it is just to get a complete copy of the policy, not just the coverages that you have. We want to look at the language, because insurance policy is basically a contract between you and the insurance company, and the policies are written by attorneys. So we want to look at the language in the policy to see typically what's excluded from the policy.
Look at the definitions.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we want to match up, because every business is a little different. Policies, they're manuscript, but sometimes insurance companies will put certain language in certain policies. And what the problem is, these policies are 100 pages long and nobody's reading these policies.
So a declaration page is just not enough then?
We want to look at the full policy to see primarily what is excluded. So if it's not excluded, there's coverage. So that's what we're looking for, the exclusions.
Now, do you guys also cover alternative risk options, or do you have alternative risk options?
Yeah. Other than insurance, there's other types of coverages that you can get. And one of the biggest things right now are captives. Okay. So captives is
captive insurance company.
Yeah.
831Bs?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So basically, it's a group of businesses, they decide they want to retain their own risk and form their own insurance company called a captive insurer. So instead of purchasing insurance from a third party, they're kind of grouping themselves together.
Self-insure themselves.
Self-insure. And they're using an insurance company to write the insurance. So what they're doing is it's reducing, with insurance, the market can be volatile. 1 year you could be paying $100,000, and then there's been a lot of claims. You may not have had a lot of claims, but in your industry, there's a lot of claims. So it affects you as a whole. And next year you're paying $200,000. Mm-hmm. So this way, if you can control your losses, you have more control over your premium through a captive because you're actually in charge of the insurance company.
So that's separate. That's without you guys. They're doing that on their own.
No, we actually can work. We have a captive division in our agency that we will be able to help someone if they were interested. It has to make sense. You have to be primarily, premium has to be about $150,000 in premium, and it's for your liability. So it's for your general liability, auto, your workers' comp, your umbrella coverage, and we can put that into a captive. And, we'll look if you're like a plumber or a general contractor. Typically, we'll group you with other companies of that similar.
So it's a group captive.
Yes, sir. You can do group captives. You can do singular captives. And as you know, most insurance companies, what they do is they make their money on investments. They take in premium and they invest the money if they're not paying out claims. So with that captives, as you being part of it, you're going to make, initially startup costs are high. But after you get going, you're going to be able to take the money, just like insurance company, get dividends, the investment money, and there's tax advantages as well, as you probably know.
You're participating in the risk pool, but you're also participating in an investment pool.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And if you can control your losses, it's the best way to go for you. I mean, it makes sense.
There's a term I heard called total cost of risk. Can you kind of explain to me what that means?
People think about insurance. They think that that's the only way to cover you. But that's just one part of the scenario. Total cost of risk is looking at everything as a whole. So you're looking at if you had a claim and if it was something where we just talked about, you had a breach of your information. So you're going to lose some reputation. So you're going to lose some market share. Mm-hmm. So that's considered total cost of risk. If you have an employee that gets injured on the job and he can't come back, you're going to have to hire someone to replace him. Right. So that retraining, trying to get that person up to speed, that's considered part of a claim. So you got to look at not just the insurance. You got to look at retraining an employee. You got to look at loss of reputation. You got to look at, you may have to have other employees that have to work overtime. So you have to look at production costs. If you had a fire and your business is out, you're not just going to start making, if you're making widgets, you're not going to start making widgets again tomorrow. There's going to be some downtime. Mm-hmm. If you did something where you violated a law, there could be some fines. So you have to look at, for a claim, there's just more than just, you have a claim, insurance company pays you back what you had a claim for. You got to look at everything as a whole. Like I said, best part of trying to protect yourself is prevention.
So would you have like an umbrella type of coverage, or what would that be to cover all those different types of liability?
Yeah. So what we do is so total cost of risk is kind of giving you an overview of what it would cost if you had a claim. So we kind of bring that to your attention. You can't, for some of the stuff, obviously for loss of reputation, fines and stuff, those are just kind of part of a claim. But as far as the coverages and safety and training, we're going to try to help so that doesn't happen.
And I want to ask you this is probably one of my last questions, but what makes you and your agency different from all the others? What would you say are some of the key things that makes you different?
One of the things about myself personally is I've been in insurance for 21 years. The first 5 years of that, I was a claims adjuster, meaning I worked for Mercury handling auto claims. So I know the inner workings inside of an insurance company, because insurance is what you pay for. But when you have a claim, that's when you really want the person to be there. Right. So I've been on the inside where I know how claims works. Whenever my clients do have a claim or need my help, what it is I'm reviewing policies to figure out what happened, when did it happen, how did it happen, and I'm looking to find coverage. As an adjuster, it was the opposite. You would look to see how to get out of paying a claim. So when I speak with insurance adjusters now on behalf of my clients, I let them know, I used to do what you did. I understand the process. It helps me. I mean, I've countless times where I've had clients where their claims were denied and the adjuster said there's no coverage. And then I was able to find coverage for them because of my experience.
Wow. That's a good point.
So then one of our agency is very big on risk management and protection. So we will help clients with their safety programs. Mm-hmm. We will help them with training. We will help them with HR is a big part of it. So we have a free webinar we give people. It's called Think HR. So it's a HR platform where, if they've got questions about hiring or firing or any type of laws, we're helping them. So we're very big on providing services. And these services are just provided as a free of charge because of you're a client. Because we look at it this way. We're partners. We're an extension of your company. If we can help you, stay in business and prevent claims from happening, your employees are going to be happy. You're going to be happy. We differentiate ourselves, but we don't just sell insurance.
You know, we've been talking a lot about property and casualty. I was wondering if you can elaborate a little bit more on the employee benefits that your company offers.
Also, we have an employee benefits department, which is health insurance, life insurance. We do dental insurance. So basically, we're looking at other areas of working with people as far as long-term, short-term care, as well as key man life and voluntary coverages that we look at it as a whole. You know, when you think of insurance, we want you to think of us. We also have personal lines departments where we help I'm not a personal lines agent, but if I have a client that needs insurance for his home or his car, I can help them. So we want to be able to when you think of insurance, you call me and I can help you with all lines of your insurance.
So you guys have specialists in specific areas and you just kind of am the quarterback for your client, basically.
Yes,
bringing
sir.
in the right professionals.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So for the benefits, we have a person that's been doing it for 30 years, and that's exactly right.
Is there anything I left out, Jermaine, that you think I should know about your company or about you in terms of insurance, what you guys cover? Or
I think we covered it all. Just wanted to kind of elaborate on, as far as for a business, we help both profit and nonprofits, and we can help them with all lines of coverage. So property, liability, workers' comp, commercial auto, pollution, cyber, employment practice. So if there's just nothing that we're a mid-sized agency. We're not like the big agencies like the Martians and the Aons, and we're not the small ones. We're right in the middle. Our range is mid-sized companies with 10 million in sales and 25 to 30 plus employees. Okay. But we help people smaller, and we can help companies bigger.
You know, Jermaine, I did have a question with all the Me Too and sexual harassment stuff going on right now. Is that something that Insurica insures, or do you have to go to another party, or how does that work?
Yeah, so right now, that is definitely, as you turn on your TV, you see the Me Too movement. And that is an area that I can help clients. It's a policy called Employment Practice Liability Insurance. And what it does is it covers you for sexual harassment, discrimination, wrongful termination. You can get it for your employees as well as third party for like customers. If you've got, say, a restaurant and they're dealing with customers, you can get it for that. So that's definitely a coverage that I talk to my clients about. Actually, I've got a client today that I was talking to that they're a landlord. They own a high-rise building. They have a tenant who wants to bring in emotional support dog into his business. Mm-hmm. So there's coverage as far as not excluded for if that dog was the Bison one, but they wanted to know, can they keep him out? And I can't answer that. But if they did, and if he filed a lawsuit, that would be a discrimination lawsuit, because if he's legally able to do that, so that would be picked up under an employment practice liability policy.
Okay, but the Me Too sexual harassment stuff, you guys
definitely
yes. cover that stuff, huh?
Yes, we can provide insurance for that.
All
definitely a hot button and something that I recommend that people look at.
Sounds good. I think that's all I have today. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me. This was great.
And to get hold of Jermaine, please feel free to contact me, Eric Bell, at eb@wait-what.biz. Thanks, Jermaine.
Thank you for having me, Eric. It's been a pleasure.
Next week, we'll have Noelle Nitz, and she'll be talking about how she's a fractional CFO.